All right, I think we can get started now. Welcome to this webinar on the 2016 Wood Stove Changeout Program. This is a briefing for stove professionals looking to participate in the program. First off, happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. Thank you for all attending. I know some other folks are at the Hearth Patio and Barbecue Association event today, but thank you all for making this webinar. I'm Josh Kessler. I am the project manager for this program, and I also have with me Tara Mu, our fellow who will be helping to administer this program. And before we get started, just to let you know, we'll be opening this up to questions a couple of times throughout the presentation, and we'll let you know when we do. And you'll be able to type in those questions on the right-hand bar where it says questions on the GoToWebinar bar. So to run through our agenda for today, we'll go through a bit of background on the agencies funding this program. We'll talk a little bit about the background on the program, the history, and the goals. We'll run through the specifications for stoves that are allowed to be installed through the program, the emissions levels and such. We'll go through rebate levels. Then we'll walk through how the actual application process works and a few changes from last year. We'll talk about income-based rebates, which are what were previously referred to as low-income rebates in the previous rounds of the change-out. Finally, we'll go through a demo of the application portal, and we'll go through in detail how you submit applications and make adjustments to existing applications. And finally, next steps and some additional resources available to you. So getting started. The agencies that fund this program, first up, we are the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center. We administer the wood stove changeout. We are a state economic development agency, and our mission is to provide financing for deployment and other services to clean energies, to communities interested in adopting clean energy technologies. We also assist in training and development of the clean energy workforce, and we offer strategic investments to help grow clean energy companies. Also helping support the program are the Department of Energy Resources and the State Department of Environmental Protection, who provide financial and technical assistance and guidance in the wood stove changeout. A bit more about the background of the program. At a high level, the mission of the program is to replace old, high-emitting, non-EPA certified stoves with clean-burning, new EPA-certified wood and pellet stoves. The goals are to reduce particulate matter and air pollution levels in Massachusetts, promote cleaner burning wood and biomass fuels for heating, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions by promoting more efficient stoves, which also save customers money because they burn less fuel. A bit of background, we have completed over 1,100 changeouts since 2012 when the first round of the changeout was launched. Typically, the program runs 3 to 6 months during the spring and summer, and we'll talk a little bit more about the launch date shortly. And stove professionals are posted on the MassCEC website as soon as they sign up by submitting their stove professional agreement to us, and this gives you some free advertising to bring in some additional customers to your business. In terms of target for this year's program, we have a budget of $700,000 allocated, and we're hoping to complete a minimum of 300 changeouts this year, and to increase adoption, in particular among income-eligible residents that qualify for our income-based rebates. And now I'm going to turn it over to Tara Mu to talk a little more in detail about the program.
Thanks, Josh. Thank you all for coming out today. My name is Tara Mu. It's a pleasure to meet you all, and I am now going to take you through a little bit more in detail about the timeline and the details of our program. So important to know is the timeline of our program. We are expecting program launch on March 23rd, 2016. Important to note about this program launch date is that any projects completed with this program must be installed after March 23rd. So any projects installed prior to March 23rd would not qualify. Our program deadline is August 22nd. Any projects completed within our time frame must be using installed operational stoves, and applications must be fully submitted by this August 22nd date. For eligibility, all stove retailers and chimney sweeps working in Massachusetts can participate in this program, and all residents in all Massachusetts cities and towns are eligible. Now we're going to go into a little bit more detail about the rebates for 2016 and our emission levels limits. Our new stove emission level thresholds are the same as last year, so in 2015. We are exploring the possibility of, in future programs, limiting the particulate matter grams per hour emissions to 3.0. As of now, we accept stoves up to 3.5 grams per hour. We have made some adjustments to our rebate levels last year, although most have stayed very nearly the same. Pellet stoves this year are eligible for increased rebate levels, and non-catalytic stoves that emit between 3 and 3.5 grams per hour of particulate matter have reduced rebate levels. We are also offering a higher threshold for income-based rebates. In previous years, we offered income-based rebates to homeowners that earned up to 60% of state median income. This year, we've expanded that definition to 80% of state median income. Just to run through the chart that we have listed at the bottom of the slide, you'll see that we break our stove categories up into 4 different levels. We accept pellet stoves for this program that emit up to 2 grams per hour of particulate matter. We accept catalytic stoves that also emit up to 2 grams per hour of particulate matter. And for non-catalytic wood stoves, we accept stoves that emit up to 3.5 grams per hour of particulate matter. You'll notice that we offer different rebate levels for standard and for income-based rebates. For a pellet stove, standard, we'd offer up to $1,500. This amount ranges down to our non-catalytic wood stoves that emit between 3 and 3.5 grams per hour, where we would be offering $500. Our income-based rebates are up to $1,000 higher than the standard rebate. So as you can see, pellet stoves, instead of $1,500, we offer $2,500. And on the lower end, for our non-catalytic wood stoves emitting between 3 and 3.5 grams per hour of particulate matter, instead of $500, we offer $1,500. Now we're going to dig a little bit deeper into the stove specifications for the 2016 program. For old stoves that will be changed out in this program, they must meet 2 qualifications. First, they must not be EPA certified. Second, they must still be operational. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about what we consider to be EPA certified for the purposes of this program, you can follow the link that is given in the middle of the screen. This link will take you to EPA's BurnWise website and will give you greater in-depth look at the 1988 New Source Performance Standards. Customers should be a partner in the process of determining what old stoves are eligible to be changed out. They should be able to prove the year that the stove was manufactured, or give a stove professional a picture of the stove to aid in the identification process. Good to know is that most EPA certified stoves have a metal EPA hang tag on the back of the stove. If a stove had this hang tag, it would mean that it's EPA certified and therefore ineligible for our program. A new stove must also meet 2 qualifications. This new stove that will take the place of the old stove being changed out must be EPA certified and must be found on the list of approved models on our wood stove changeout installer resources page on MassCEC's website. This list limits the number of stoves to those that fit under our particulate matter requirements. Now we're going to look a little bit more in depth into the process of our changeout. As you can see, changeout process is broken down into 3 steps. Step 1, homeowner will be working with the stove professional. Step 2 will be led by the stove professional. And step 3 will be led by MassCEC. First, the homeowner will work with the stove professional to determine if the existing stove is non-EPA certified. The stove professional should be able to certify that the old stove being changed out is eligible for the program. Together, they will then select a new qualifying stove, and if needed, homeowner will demonstrate to the stove professional that they are eligible for an income-based rebate. We will cover that in a few more slides down the road in greater detail. Next, they will determine the project costs and rebate amount, and the homeowner will purchase the stove with the rebate discount applied. After this new stove has been purchased, the stove professional will remove, disable, and recycle the old existing stove, install the new qualifying stove, and submit a rebate application on the homeowner's behalf. Next, MassCEC gets involved. MassCEC will review the application, and when we determine that the application is complete, we will issue a payment to the stove professional. There have been a few application process changes since 2015. If you are a stove professional that participated in 2015, you probably saw a bit of difference just in the way we are operating the program from the last slide. This year, the biggest change in our application process is that we are moving to a single-step process. So MassCEC will no longer be pre-approving projects prior to installation. So professionals can simply complete the changeout and submit an application after the fact. We'll also be requiring fewer documents to be submitted this year than in previous years. So we will no longer be requiring an invoice both before and after the changeout. However, if a customer is using MassCEC's income verification portal, the stove professional and homeowner will still need to wait for income verification to be completed before they start the project. This is to protect the homeowner and stove professional from agreeing upon a rebate amount that may not be accurate. Now we're going to go more into detail about what application materials will need to be submitted with each changeout application. As we mentioned in previous slides, all applications must be submitted via the Vision portal that we'll be using for this program no later than August 22nd, 2016. This means that all changeouts must be completed by August 22nd, and homeowners and stove professionals should plan accordingly for this deadline. With each application, we will need the following documents submitted. First, a signed participants agreement. This agreement will be signed by both the homeowner and the stove professional and certifies that both parties agree to MassCEC's terms and conditions. Next, an invoice for the project that shows the different portions to be charged and the rebate amount discounted. Then we will need both pictures of the old stove to be changed out and the new stove. Both stoves should be installed at the time the pictures are taken. Then we will need an old stove disposal form, which will need to be signed by the stove professional and by the stove recycler. An electric bill from the last 6 months must be submitted to the stove professional and then on to Mass CEC. And, if needed, income-based rebate documentation should be submitted alongside the application. As mentioned, we will get a little bit more in depth with income-based rebate documentation later on in the presentation. After Mass CEC receives all of the necessary paperwork, Mass CEC will approve the application, send an award letter via email, and issue payment to the stove professional within 2 to 4 weeks. As promised, we're now going to get into depth about income-based rebates. So as previously mentioned, customers earning less than 80% of state median income this year can qualify for higher rebate levels. There are 3 distinct ways to prove eligibility for this higher rebate level. A homeowner can either provide the stove professional with an electric bill that shows a residential assistance rate code, typically an R2, or a fuel assistance letter of acceptance, or the homeowner can complete third-party income verification that is done through Mass CEC's income verification portal. The last day to submit for a third-party income verification for the wood stove changeout program is July 15th, 2016. This is to allow enough time for the income verification to be processed and for the changeout to be completed prior to the August 22nd deadline. Income verification takes approximately 2 weeks, but can take up to 4 weeks using our portal. And it's important to note that applicants between 60 and 80% of state median income must use this method, as they will most likely not qualify for an electric bill with a residential assistance rate code or a fuel assistance letter. And as previously mentioned, but just to underscore, projects should not be started until income verification is complete. The chart listed below on this slide gives a more detailed look at different household sizes and the dollar amount that would correspond with 80% of Massachusetts state median income. So you can see for a household of 4, $84,939 would be equal to 80% of state median income. Next, I'm going to hand the stage back over to Josh, who is going to take you through a demonstration of our portal. Josh?
All right, thanks, Tara. And actually, before we start the application portal demonstration, we did want to open it up to questions. So if you do have any questions, you can look at the sidebar of the webinar and see, feel free to enter any questions that you may have. And we'll pause for just a minute to see if any of you have questions. Okay, so it looks like a couple of people are asking whether they can get a copy of this webinar. And yes, the answer is we will post this to our website as soon as we launch the program on the 23rd. And if you have any questions between now and then, feel free to reach out to us. We'll provide contact information at the end of this presentation. But just to let you know, the email address if you want to send any questions in the meantime is woodstoves@masscec.com. And that looks like about it for questions. We will open it up to questions again at the end if you have any more, and again, feel free to reach out to us. So let's walk through the portal. So first off, you will need to create a login ID. Now, to do that, you'll go to the login address. It is commonwealthwoodstove.programprocessing.com/login. And if you're a new user, you'll go to create account. You'll type in your first name, your last name, your email address. You can ignore this utility account number, and then you'll create a password and click submit. Once you do that, you'll be able to log in using your email and your password that you've just created, and you will log in. So when you log in, it will take you to this dashboard screen, and we'll walk through this dashboard in detail in a few minutes. But for right now, let's get started and actually create a new application. So just to let you know, normally this would be on your sidebar, this link, but because the program has not been launched yet, we have not opened it up to applications yet. So again, only Stove professionals who have submitted their Stove professional agreements to Mass CEC are eligible to participate in the program. If you have not submitted it already, we will send out another copy of that to anyone who is interested after this presentation. So let's begin an application by clicking this button here. So the first information that you'll see is information on the system owner, which is the homeowner. And you'll enter their mailing information and their contact information. And just to clarify, if the system owner's address for mailing is different from the address where the stove will be installed for some reason, here you will enter their mailing address, and then a little lower down we'll get to where you would enter the address where the stove is actually being installed. So for now, let's enter the contact information. You won't need to enter a company. We'll just put NA for that. And for account, you also won't need to enter an account. So let's just put that a random number there. You can ignore the premise ID. You will need to enter an address. So let's enter that address right here, and you can just tab through the fields, or you can click through like this with your mouse. And you will enter all the information. And again, you will need to fill out any field with a red star next to it. You can skip this tax ID and save contact for later. You do not want to save the customer contacts for later typically. So we'll skip that, and we'll scroll down to this section on Stove Professional information. So please enter all the contact information for the Stove Professional. That's you, of course. And later on, once you've populated these, you'll be able to select from a list of previous contacts that you've created. So let's enter Tara as the installer here. And again, no account ID. For the company, you'll enter your own company. No account ID, no premise ID. We'll enter the Mass CEC address here for purposes of this application. And so we'll keep going through these fields. And again, you won't need to enter your tax ID here. You will want to click Save here because you'll be using your own contact information repeatedly in this program, so you'll be able to just select this above. Now, the Stove Professional to pay, we can ignore this for now. It's not currently active. The next field where it says name this project, this field is just for whatever you want to call this. Let's just call this test project for now. And now we'll scroll down to the project information, and this again is the site of the homeowner where you'll be installing the new stove. Project site street, let's call this 23 Beacon Street again. And now that we've entered the project information, we'll go down to the stove information section. Now, just to let you know, for the stove information section, we have another resource that is available on our website once we launch, and we will also send around to you. It's called the Project Information Worksheet, and we strongly recommend that you use this worksheet. It is a one-page document that you will use to talk through the current stove and future stove information with the customer. And the information on that sheet aligns directly with the information that we'll be requesting here in this online application. So what you will collect from the customer is the condition of the previous stove, and you'll click all that apply here. So let's say it's an old stove, it needs maintenance, and it's inefficient. You'll collect how many cords of wood they're currently burning. Typically we see about 3, and hopefully they'll be burning fewer in the future when they install a more efficient new stove. How often did the system owner use their previous stove? It can be any of these, let's say most days during the heating season. And how does the system owner plan on using their new stove? Let's say, again, they're going to be using it most days during the heating season. Now, in addition to the stove, what other fuel is used for heating the home? Well, let's say they use electric resistance, or we can just say none hypothetically, but let's say electric resistance. This is primarily for information collection purposes. So we'll keep scrolling down, and we get to award information. Now, as you saw previously, here are our award levels for our different stove types. So all stoves must be EPA certified, just running through our requirements again. All new stoves must be EPA certified. All income-based rebates require proof of income eligibility to be demonstrated. And one other note, for purposes of this program, hybrid stoves are treated like catalytic stoves in terms of their emissions limits and rebate levels. Now, once this program goes live, you will be able to click this link here where it says click here, and it will provide you a list of the eligible stoves. We haven't posted that yet because the program's not live yet, but let's go into what that document will look like now. So here is this Excel spreadsheet, and this is a master list of all of the stoves that qualify for this year's wood stove changeout. You'll see the stove ID, and that's an ID that is unique to this program. It's a unique identifier. We list the manufacturer, and this list is organized alphabetically by manufacturer. You'll see the make and model of each of the different stoves. We list the stove type, the emissions as certified by the EPA or by Washington State University, and then the standard rebate levels and the income-based rebate. So let's say you know the name of the make of the stove that you're going to install. You can click Control F, and that will show you the find and replace. Now that will allow you to search the entire screen for the make of the stove. So let's say we want to install an Oslo. We'll type in Oslo here, and we'll click Find. And you see it found the F500 Oslo here. Now in this column here, in this first column, it shows all of the stove IDs. And what you'll do is you'll select that text, you'll right-click, and you'll copy. And then let's go back into this other document here, your actual application that you're creating. So we've clicked back into the other window, and where it says stove ID from qualified equipment list, you'll right-click and you'll paste the stove ID from the Excel spreadsheet into this field here. And just one thing to be sure of is that these are dashes and not some other format, because that has caused problems in prior years of the change out. But typically we have not had major problems with this. So continuing down the list, you'll see where it says please select appropriate rebate. You select one of the rebates above. Now the F500 Oslo, that is a non-catalytic wood stove in this 3 to 3.5 grams per hour limit. And let's say that we want the income-based rebate adder. So we'll go to this bottom option where it says non-catalytic wood stove greater than or equal to between 3 and 3.5 grams per hour. And we want the income-based rebate for $1,500. So we click that button, that circle on the left there, and let's continue scrolling down. So if applying for an income-based rebate, if you're just doing the standard rebate, you can ignore this field. But if you are applying for an income-based rebate, you'll click this drop-down here, and you'll have the three options that Tara mentioned previously. The first is an electricity bill with an R2 or other discounted electricity rate code on their electricity bill. Now, if you're submitting the electricity bill, you'll need to make sure that you do see that rate code on either the first or second page of the bill, and that you submit the bill to us. The second option is the fuel assistance acceptance letter from this current or past winter. Or the third option is if they are submitting through the online income verification portal, masseyciverify.com. That's a separate portal from this application portal. Now let's say they are using that. We'll click that. You will have a bit of a lag time, typically 2 to 4 weeks, between the time that the homeowner submits that application to the online portal and the time that they receive that. Once they receive that, they will provide that to you so that you can clarify, you can confirm that it is in fact the correct rebate level, that they will be getting the income-based rebate and not the standard rebate. So assuming you've received that, you'll click the drop-down for the project completion date. And again, the project completion will have needed to take place already, and it will need to be after March 23rd when the program launches. So we'll continue scrolling down here to this project cost section. And here, these project costs should align as closely as possible with the costs on the invoice. So let's say the new stove cost is $2,000 just for the stove itself, another $500 for additional parts and materials that you're installing. You can tab through these fields or click on them directly in order to enter the data. $500 for labor, $100 to remove a new stove, $100 more to deliver the stove, $100 more to remove and recycle the old stove. Let's say the tax of 6.25% is $200. And you'll take a total of those numbers, and that should be, in this case, $3,500. And again, that should align with the total that you're showing on your rebate. Now, the discount for the rebate, that's just the rebate amount, is $1,500 in this case. And the cost of the customer will be the total eligible project cost minus the discount for the rebate equals $2,000 is the total cost to the customer. And ideally, we'd like to see you show that number on your invoice as well. Now, we're finally at the end of this application, this first application form. Now, what this says is by clicking yes below, you're certifying that MassCEC that you have answered all of these questions accurately. You're certifying that you've read and understand the terms and conditions of the program, as laid out in the Stowe Professional Agreement. And again, you will need to submit that Stowe Professional Agreement before you're listed on our website and before you can submit applications through this portal. You'll also be certifying that the old stove was operational and was not EPA certified or homemade. That the new stove has been installed according to all federal, state, and local codes, and that all permits have been acquired. And finally, that the previous stove has been rendered inoperable and recycled to a recycling facility. So once you've read through that, you click yes in that checkbox there, and you click continue. So once you click continue, it will take you back to this dashboard here. So what this dashboard shows is a list of, well, before we go through this dashboard, let's just show you in this section here where it says you have 2 new tasks. You're actually not complete, you haven't completed this application yet. Where it says you have 2 new tasks, you'll see any existing tasks you have on outstanding applications. So this test project here, if you see in the bottom left corner, that is the new application that we just created, test project. And it says you have 8 tasks to complete. Now that sounds onerous, it's really going to go quickly, it's not too bad. So you click where it says test project, and that will take you into this additional form that shows you this information on the application. So it says you have outstanding tasks to complete, and you'll see, you click here to view the current tasks that must be completed. So you click, and it will take you down to this section below where it says current tasks. Below are any outstanding tasks you need to complete. First off, you'll have to upload a document. These are all document upload tasks. You will click to upload the electric bill. So you click there, and you can just browse your hard drive. All of these should be stored on your hard drive, and you'll find them on your hard drive. And so the first one you'll submit, again, is the electric bill. You can click open and upload, and it will upload that document. And again, you can double click that or click to open and upload. It needs to be signed by you and by the homeowner. Next will be the invoice. This is just the invoice that you send to the customer. Double click that, upload the file. Next will be the picture of the old stove. Click to upload the old stove. And this picture can be taken either by you or by the homeowner or anyone else. It just needs to be a picture of the old stove while it's still installed prior to removal. And we'll upload that. And we'll upload a picture of the new stove post-installation. And again, that should be the stove actually installed, not a picture from the website, from the manufacturer's website, which we did receive a few of those, and we had to reject those pictures last year and request new pictures of the installed stove. Next will be uploading a picture of the old stove disposal form. And that form, that is a form where you will sign it as well as the stove recycler who is disabling the stove. And finally, if you're submitting a standard application or then this will not apply. This is the form of verification that you're using. It will either be the letter from the third party that is verifying that the applicant meets the income threshold, or a fuel assistance letter, or if you're using the electric bill, you will have already submitted the electric bill. So in this case, let's say we're submitting the third-party income verification confirmation letter. We'll upload that, and that is the final document that we need to upload. In this last task, this is just verifying that all documents have been uploaded, and we'll submit the application. So we'll click that. We'll click under the description here, yes, I certified that this task has been completed, and submit. So your task field is empty now. the forms here, you'll see you can click this icon here and you'll just see the application. And this just shows you all of the information on your application that you have just submitted. You can scroll through this and close out. Scrolling down further, you see in this documents and files here, this is a list of all of the files that you have submitted to us. So the old stove picture, the old stove disposal form, all of the ones we just uploaded. It will also show you if you receive any automated document emails through the application portal from us, those will show up here as well. So you have now completed this application, and if we go back, if you click this home button on the top left, we'll go back into our dashboard here, and you'll see that where it says tasks, that task no longer exists. So let's walk through what's on this dashboard now. So where it says quick actions here, first off, you can see a list of your applications that you've submitted. If we click that, these are all of the applications that we have submitted through this program here. Now, if you click the back arrow here in your browser, you can get back to the dashboard. My contacts should just list the contacts that you have created. That's typically just yourself and potentially any other stove professionals or contractors associated with your organization. If you click My Account here, it will just create this pop-up window, and it will just list your name. And if you want to change your password ever, you can do that here. You can log out. Then this next field, this box on the top right, this shows the number of applications that you have created under Analytics, as well as the number of rebates that we've paid out to you. In the bottom right, this is applications by status. It shows you how many applications you've submitted, and you can click this to see any applications that you have submitted to date. You can see other application statuses. Now, this bottom left here, this is any outstanding tasks like we saw just a minute ago. You will need to click that click on the application submitted for any applications you've already you need to complete. But one other thing as we're going through this demo here, let's go through a flawed application, which means if you submitted an application to us, but for some reason the application did not go through properly. Let's click where it says flawed app here. We have one task to complete. So here it says it will show you the project number that's created automatically by the system. And the project status here, it says please check stove ID or rebate value. And that is explaining the flawed status here. So what that means is the stove ID was not entered properly. So we'll scroll down here to where it says our current tasks. So in our current tasks, it says complete task, verify selected rebate value matches the stove ID prefix, and stove ID is found on the eligible equipment list. So we'll click here. Oops, sorry, we won't do that yet. And we'll go into forms here, and this you'll see the application information. And where it says view form, in the very top left there, where it says edit application, very top left, you'll click that, and you'll be able to edit any application information. And this will only be for open applications. Now we'll scroll down to where it says under award information, stove ID from qualified equipment list. Now what happened here is that this was copied from the wrong version of the equipment list, and we need to replace the dashes with the correctly formatted dashes. And that's all that was wrong with this one. It is occasionally a little finicky. So now that we've replaced that, we will see that everything else is correct here, and we'll click Continue at the very bottom of the screen. And now we can go back up to our current tasks, click Complete Task, verify that this task has been completed. We'll open up this task box. We'll verify that the selected rebate value matches the stove ID prefix found on our equipment list. We'll click Yes, and we'll click Submit. Now we'll be able to complete the application and upload any documents just like you just saw us doing previously in order to complete the application. So now I'm going to close out of that application, and I'm going to close out of the dashboard and return to our PowerPoint here to conclude the PowerPoint presentation. So just a few more things before we conclude this presentation. A few resources for you to note. First of all, for our Installer Resources page, this is a page with all of the information that you will need as a stove professional to participate in the program. That includes all of the official program documents, in particular the program manual with details on the requirements of the program. It also provides marketing and outreach brochures, information that you can use to provide handouts to customers to help promote the program, as well as other documents that you'll need, such as the participants agreement or other documents necessary to participate in the program. The second link here, masseciverify.com, that is the income verification portal, and you can direct applicants to that page in order to complete their online income verification. And finally, this is the address for the application portal that we just walked through. And finally, next steps. In order to sign up, you'll just need to fill out your stove professional agreement and send it to woodstoves@masscec.com. Again, we will email that document again to any webinar participants in case you haven't had a chance to fill that out yet. And you can download all the program materials from the Installer Resources page on our website once that is online, which will be March 23rd, our launch date. So, any additional questions that you have? We'll hold on for just a minute. And while we're giving you an opportunity to submit questions, we will also scroll down to the final page of this presentation. So we have a question on what MassCC is doing to market the program and what marketing materials are available. So a good question. First off, there will be press releases. We're doing a launch event on March 23rd. There will be a press release issued about this, about the program launch and about the program. This will be sent out to major news media outlets operating in Massachusetts, both television, online, and local newspapers, as well as major newspapers like the Globe. We will also have marketing materials available. They'll just be basically one-page brochures that you can provide to customers, either printed handouts, or you can send them via email to any customer lists that you may have. And I believe we'll be also doing a Facebook campaign, just posting this on our Facebook page. And if you have any Facebook pages or other online pages where you'd like to promote the program, by all means, you would be welcome to post about this program. One other thing, one of the actual stove manufacturers has volunteered to post about this program on their website to help advertise it. Now, if you work with any other manufacturers or distributors who would be interested in doing so, we would welcome that contact, and we would love to have you help us get in touch with them so we can promote the program on their website. Another question, when doing the initial application where it says account number with a red star, so we are working with our system integrator to make it so that that field will not appear. If it does appear, you'll just need to write NA or put in a random number. You don't really need to fill that out. What is the name of our Facebook page? You should be able to find that on our website, or search Facebook for just Massachusetts Clean Energy Center. But we can also provide that on our installer resources page. Thank you for asking that. Which manufacturer has agreed to promote? It was Regency. We spoke with them at a conference. Any other questions while we're still here? Okay, great. Well, thank you all for participating, and have a great St. Patrick's Day. If you need to contact us, feel free to reach out to us at woodstoves@masscec.com, or you can call us at 617-712-1109, and that is Tara's number. Thank you again, and have a great day.